Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Puckn Pod. My name is Joe.
My name is Brandon.
And I'm Paul.
Gentlemen, it's another fun week in sports and movies and everything in our lives. I say fun sarcastically because Brandon's having the best time at work right now. We're not going to get into that, though.
I'm off tomorrow. I'm
on vacation right now, and it's been the busiest week of my life. So
sometimes that happens.
And it's just like everything. My son's birthday was last week. I'm going to get into something about my son specifically and his birthday. We went to the Vancouver Canucks game last night. We were always record on a Thursday, for those of you who don't know. And so yesterday being Wednesday, we watched the Vancouver Canucks play the Carolina Hurricanes. It was Charlie, my son's birthday last Friday. This was his birthday present, and it's his first ever NHL game. So I don't know if you guys remember going to a hockey game as a kid. I never got to go to an NHL game as a kid. The first NHL game I ever went to, I was in my 20s. So the experience for me would have been worlds different than what he got to experience last night.
I went to one when I was about 5 or 4, and then I don't think I went to another one until I was in my teens.
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
I did get hit with a puck. Ouch. My first game.
Really?
Yeah, and it was at the Pacific Coliseum.
Oh, wow.
And it was during warm-up. Puck ricocheted, came up and hit me in the arm.
You could argue the same thing happened to Charlie, except he didn't get hit with a puck. He was given a puck by one of the players.
Oh, that is great.
So I don't want to give too many secrets away because I'm sure the Rogers Arena staff would be mad at me for this. And we have 1 million followers, but there was a security guard who saw us sort of waiting to go in before the doors opened. And he said to us, he's like, "Hey, are you guys are you going to go watch the warm-up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we want to. That's the goal." He's like, "Well, if you go to this section, that takes you down to the Canucks bench, literally right beside the Canucks bench." And so we got to literally go down to the Canucks bench and watch the warm-ups happen. We're at ice level. It's my first time in the arena since they did all the upgrades and stuff in there too.
Right.
So like new seats and like this giant screen now that they have. It's like it's incredible. And so we're standing there. We get to watch these players we only ever watch on TV warm up, and we're there's a bunch of kids kind of alongside us and everything, and they're all just banging on the glass, like calling out each player's name, like I want a puck, right? And Charlie wasn't doing it. He was banging on the glass, but he wasn't calling out names or anything. And he was just sort of doing it to do what the other kids were doing, right? But it's so funny. He was like turned around, looking around at the size of the arena and what should happen. But Marcus Pettersson sees him and skates up beside him and bangs on the glass in front of Charlie. And he's got a puck in his hand and he's banging on the glass with the puck. And I'm like, "Charlie, look, buddy, look." And Charlie turns around, his face lights up.
Yeah.
He throws the puck in the air and I catch it and give it to Charlie. So he's got a warm-up puck.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's an incredible thing to do for a kid when this is your first ever game. And Charlie, by the way, I should point out, like Charlie has like a lot of anxiety issues. And his biggest fear was like showing up on the Jumbotron. He's like, he always says, "I don't want to be famous, Dad. I don't want to be famous." I'm like, "You're not going to be famous if you show up on the Jumbotron, buddy."
Yeah.
But he has this sort of fear of, I guess, people seeing it. Like, it's kind of like stage fright, I guess, in that sense, right? But that moment like was so big for him. And, he wasn't holding up a sign that said my first NHL game. So to be able to experience all this stuff and get something like that to happen to you is pretty incredible. So I'm very grateful for Marcus Pettersson for doing that.
I do remember the first game I went to. I just had a bit of an epiphany. The first game that I went to that I can really remember kind of the whole experience, and it was actually before I even started cheering for the Leafs.
Oh.
So I think I was about 11.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 or 11. And I ended up buying one of those Vancouver Canucks puck hats.
Oh.
The foam ones. And I wore it the whole game. And I sat with my mom. And my dad, I think, took Devin and they sat in a different section. He got tickets through work. And it was against the Leafs.
Oh.
But I was cheering for the Canucks at the time. Like I said, it was before I had to give in to my emotions, I guess, and cheer for the team that I grew up watching.
You wouldn't have been any less emotional as a Canuck fan, that's for sure.
A couple more cup runs,
maybe.
though.
Yeah, well, still losses though.
That's pretty awesome, Joe. Really,
yeah. No, and I mean that's only the tip of the iceberg. Like he got, so where our seats were, we were actually in the upper bowl, so we were in like 312, which is like the kind of corner upper bowl there, but it's on the side that the Canucks shoot twice. we were going into this game. So for those of you who don't know, the Vancouver Canucks are the last place team in the NHL right now. And I think that's the way the season's going to finish, just the way things are going, right? But we were going into this game expecting them to get trounced like they have been the last 2 games before, 5-1, 5-1, both games, right? So our mindset going into it is so funny because we were on the bus from the ferry coming into downtown Vancouver, and somebody asked me, he's like, "Oh, are they going to win tonight?" And Charlie goes, "No." And everybody in the bus laughs. And I said to him, I was like, "No, we're going into it expecting them to lose because they're the worst team in the league, right?"
Yeah.
But it's the experience. That's the part of it that I'm excited for. Just seeing his eyes light up going into this big arena. You know, he's only the biggest arena he ever went to was when we went to the Abbotsford Canucks game. So that's like 10,000 seats, maybe.
Yeah.
And so to go into, you know, an NHL sized rink I have pictures on my phone that are just incredible, right? Just looking at his eyes like, oh, because he even said, he's like, "This is way bigger than I thought it was going to be."
Yeah.
And he even said to me, he kept saying, he's like, "Daddy, it's so much smaller on TV." And I'm like, "You're right, man. That's exactly what it is." It was so cool to just see his face light up. And so we go up to the section 312, which is the upper bowl. So kind of the nosebleeds. Most people will be disappointed in that, but him and I both were like, "These are great seats. I can see everything."
Yeah.
You don't even need to look at the Jumbotron because you can see everything.
Yeah.
And I love that. So that was, for me, was the coolest thing. And he was in on every play. He, when the Canucks, and like I say, we were expecting them to lose. Every goal the Canucks scored, we were both just like, yeah, like it was as if the game meant something.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this sort of vein of possibility that they could win this game, right? And there was a point in the game that they were up 2-1, which was like not expected at all. Of course, in the second period, they came back and scored, I think 4 goals or something ridiculous.
Carolina's a pretty good team.
They're one of the best teams in the league. So, it is what it is. But Vancouver definitely put a fight. And I think that was, like, I'd like to think that was for our benefit. You know what I mean? Like, it was really cool to sort of see a game that meant something. He got to feel what it's like to see, to have that goal horn go and the theme song and, it's just everything, the experience in general. If you're a parent and you have a kid who loves hockey, take them to an NHL game. There is nothing like it. And I mean, that's why it costs so much to go.
Yeah.
But in the end, like, there is nothing like it. It's so much fun.
Yeah. I just booked a ferry for Mom and I because we're going over later this month to watch them play the Blues.
Are you guys walking on or
No, we're driving because we're staying in North Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we booked the ferry today. That's all good to go. We're very lucky with the seats we have because we're basically on the side that the Canucks shoot twice, but we're like almost in line with the goalie, but we're in like the first balcony, which is like the luge area. And a lot of it's for handicap seating.
That's right.
And the guy that I get tickets from, he's got cerebral palsy. And he has season tickets. The seats are absolutely phenomenal. You get seat service. You just have to order. They bring it right over to you. Like don't have to wait. The bathroom is literally
right there.
18 steps away. Like it's last year when we went, we were so blown away on how good the seats were. And I found myself cheering for the Canucks during the game. It was crazy. I mean, but I was right into it. I was having a blast. Like Mom and I were having a great time. So it was a no-brainer to do it again. Like the in-game experience that the Canucks put on. I mean, having said that, I haven't seen any other NHL arena. Yeah. I've been to several games in Vancouver, but the last year when we went, the in-game arena experience was phenomenal. It was great.
It is great.
Entertainment at every single point of that game, whether it be commercial break or whatever.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of the point, right? Like, you're going for the experience. And I think this is the thing that a lot of, say, junior teams miss out on. They think they're sort of, let's play games in intermission and that'll be that. But it's like, there's so much more to that. I'll never forget when I went to a Victoria Salmon Kings game, which was ECHL, right? So it's still professional hockey. It's obviously not as good as the AHL or the NHL, but still really good hockey. I'll never forget going to my first game and comparing it to, say, what I was used to in junior hockey and just having like a light show where a light shoots around the crowd and stuff. Like that's the difference.
Yeah.
That you don't even think about, but it's just those little things, those little nuances that like people pick up on and think this is fun now.
Well, you're talking about like the jumbotron and stuff like that, right? I was fortunate enough to live in Calgary and go see quite a few NHL games there, and I think my first NHL game too was the Calgary Flames, and it was like 1990. I was like 7 years old.
Yeah,
and I do remember it being a great time as well. Like Harvey the Hound was in the same section as us when I was a kid, and he's been around since they were inducted into the NHL, like where they moved from Atlanta to Calgary.
So that's the mascot.
Yeah.
Same mascot the whole time?
Same mascot the whole time.
Crazy, yeah.
And talking about the Jumbotron, I remember I was 18 years old, and I used to work in a senior's home, and there's a girl that I was into there, and
there's always a girl.
In the senior's home? Jeez, man.
Yeah. 18, she was like 92. And his co-worker that I worked with.
Okay, gotcha.
Could you,
thank you for the clarification.
And asked her to come to the hockey game, and she did. I got really good seats. We were only third row from the ice, so it was really cool to obviously like we had the board battles and everything, like where they're into the glass and fighting each other right in front of us. So it was, it's kind of cool, and you got to chirp a little bit and such too. But I remember again because I was into her, right, and I was a nervous wreck usually when it came to girls when I was younger. We came up on the Jumbotron for the kissing thing. Kiss cam.
Actually, if you're on a date, it's your first date, go to a hockey game. That's a smart move.
It's true. How did it end up?
Well, I was nervous, and I pointed up, "Hey, look!" And she's like, "Oh!" And she like pulled me over and gave me a peck on the lips, and I was like, "Oh, this is nice."
Nice. There you go.
And they never talked again.
Yeah, we never ended up actually dating. But that was still kind of a cool experience.
Edna.
So.
Actually, it's Beatrice.
Yeah.
Kristen, okay?
Yeah, really. That's cool though. That's fun. I mean, I think that's like I say, the experience is everything. And for me, like the most exciting part for me was to see Charlie's reaction.
Yeah.
Like just because I remember what it's like going to my first sort of big arena or big stadium experience. I went to a football game when I was 6 years old, and I'll never forget the feeling of walking into BC Place Stadium and thinking, this place is gigantic, and just that eyes wide open and like realizing that there's, 50, 60,000 people in the same building, in this case, 20,000 people or whatever. Right. But like, yeah, just incredible. And I said to my wife, Faye, I was like, we have to do it next year. Like, I feel like this needs to be an annual thing where him and I go to a game every year and just sort of experience it.
Yeah.
And then maybe as he gets older and he gets a job and stuff, maybe we could go together more regularly or whatever. But I loved that experience as a dad. I think it's something that I recommend if you haven't yet done that with your son.
I plan to do it. No, absolutely.
Yeah, that's incredible. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Just so much fun, and I hope you kind of get the same feeling like when you go with your mom. Like you say, it's a good experience. It's a good entertaining experience.
Yeah.
But also just the sort of the experience of getting to do it with your mom, who appreciates it. And I think that's the difference, right?
Yeah. It's an early game, too, so I don't know what we're going to do after.
Yeah.
The game starts at 4.
Karaoke.
Maybe. I did try to scout out a couple places. The one thing I will say is that they are playing St. Louis, so there might be a decent chance they'll come away with a victory that game. Probably more of a chance than against Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, maybe it'll be a close game. They'll go to overtime or something like that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be cool. Like I said, we had a blast last year, although I'm not looking forward to parking at the arena because we are going to have to park.
Well, could you not just park it? Okay, so you're staying in North Van.
Yeah.
I know we're on a podcast right now, so let me just say this out loud. You could park your van in your hotel or at your hotel, and then take the C bus.
I heard that,
and then the SkyTrain. Just buy a day pass, and then you can go.
I did hear that. The guys that over, I have a branch in North Vancouver, and we stopped in, and they suggested the same thing. Yeah. Actually,
then you don't have to worry about parking. It makes a lot of sense. We did that when we stayed in North Van. We went to a Lions game because it was the only hotel we could get that was a reasonable price.
Yeah,
and we stayed in North Van. Left the car at the hotel, walked to the C bus because it was like right across the street. It was like really close. And then we just took the SkyTrain from there to the game. So
nice.
Yeah. It's I will say this about Vancouver. It's a really accessible city when you consider the fact that you have the C bus, the SkyTrain, and all the bus routes and stuff. Like there's so much availability for getting where you need to go and stuff. So Yeah.
I think we're halting our hockey talk for the most part today because we've got our live stream tomorrow on YouTube. So don't forget to join us.
As we record this tomorrow, we're going to be doing our trade deadline live stream. There's right as we speak. There's much less than 24 hours left in the trade deadline, so lots could happen. For all we know, I'm not paying attention at all to X or Twitter, so we're not going to get into any of the possible trades or past trades. We're going to get into all that tomorrow on the live stream.
Well, thank you ahead of time, and hopefully you tuned in. Because by the time this airs,
hopefully you tuned in and commented. But let's talk a little bit about baseball because there's so much going on. Spring training is going on as we speak. Correct?
Yep.
Let's talk about that. What's happening?
Well, I mean, the Jays are not having a great spring, but there's a lot of reason for it. They've got 12 players at the WBC. They're not all necessarily everyday players. They're not necessarily roster players. Yeah. But some that are there are Andres Jimenez, representing Venezuela. Shortstop Leo Jimenez, which he's actually was having a good spring before he left. He plays for Panama. Ernie Clement from the U.S., who was big time part of their World Series run last year. Nice. Our boy Alejandro Kirk for Mexico. Vladdy, of course, for the Dominican Republic is over there. Kazuma Okamoto for Japan. And Yariel Rodriguez for Cuba are sort of the main roster players that are over there. And then a couple of minor leaguers, Adam Mako, RJ Shrek, CJ Stubbs, Will Cresswell, who actually is playing for Great Britain, which I think is kind of cool.
That is cool.
And Ishmael Monguia from Nicaragua.
Love it.
Is over there. I actually had never heard of that guy, but
yeah, me neither.
Jays prospect for sure. So they're 3-8.
Okay.
In the spring right now, which is not great.
I think if you can determine kind of a preseason record in terms of meaningfulness, I don't necessarily take. I would take it as a grain of salt.
Spring training is very similar to hockey as far as in baseball you have 100 players at training camp.
Is it like in the NHL when we have preseason, we have training camp and all that stuff, like you've got a lot of like young players who are sort of showing what they got early on, and then as you get closer and closer to the end of the preseason, you tend to get more closer to what your final roster looks like.
It's a longer process, and that's why spring training is so long. I think they play like 23 games or something. I think is what they play.
Yeah, it's not even spring yet. It's March. I was going to say February.
It's
early March. Spring is what, 2 weeks away? Something like that.
The same day I go to Vancouver.
That's right. Yeah.
Excuse me. But really hard for them to kind of set themselves apart from what they did last year because of, like I say, a lot of the players are at the WBC, but it's the same for every team.
Yep.
So, but I think they've only designated 3 or 4 players off of the roster as in cuts already. I imagine there'll be a bunch more in the coming weeks once they next couple once they get back from the WBC and they'll probably start to finalize their roster and play those guys every day. Yeah. And then your team's going to look a lot more like what it's going to look like opening day. But I have a few points about pitching and hitting and stuff. Paul, is there anything that you stuck out for you so far you want to cover?
They've had a couple of players that have been obviously decent during this kind of like 3-8 run, obviously during the spring training. Varsho still looks good. He's
my favorite Jay.
He's been able to make hard contact on balls, which is good. Something I think he's struggled with, at least in the past, where he kind of swings and misses a lot. So he's been able to make good contact. His defense is looking the best it's ever looked, kind of thing. Nice. So that's promising, especially when you're trying to defend, being AL East or AL champions, right? So Charles McAdoo, who was part of the original Isaiah Kiner-Falefa deal back in 2024, has also looked good. He's been getting good swings on the balls, and so kind of raising a few eyebrows and such. John Kasevich, don't know too much about him, but apparently he had a bomb of a shot the other day against the Boston Red Sox, and is also, from what I've been reading, catching the eye of management. So. And then they've had a couple of non-roster. They had a non-roster guy, Eloy Jimenez. We've talked about 3 different Jimenezes.
Yep.
And he's also hitting good. So it's there's some promise out of some of the players, and then Cease, Ponce, and Okamoto have they're looking like they're going to be the real deal for the team. So
as they should.
That Eloy Jimenez, his rookie year had 31 home runs with the White Sox.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's kind of been, came in as
he was a non-roster invite.
Yeah, that's right too. The article I read earlier said that he could arguably be known as the best J so far in spring with how he's been hitting. 412 so far in the spring. I mean, he's probably not getting a ton of at bats, so that's not really
still something to look at. And like Cease and Ponce have both been hitting in the mid to high 90s in their pitches, so that's really promising. With how many players they've got signed that could be starters, I have still doubts whether Ponce is going to be a starter. They did talk about doing like a 6-man rotation possibly. I know that's been a discussion. I wouldn't be surprised to see that start the season and then start to waver into a 5. I haven't been able to see much of Okamoto, but apparently he's, from what all the critics are saying, he's been an absolute delight to watch so far during spring training.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it sounds like he's got quite a sense of humor too. He's good with the group. He's good with the media, so that's a good sign. Obviously, he doesn't speak English very well, but through his translator, it sounds like
me of Kuzmenko when he came to the
NHL. Exactly. Right? Yeah, I did see that the other day when Cease started the game. He pitched an inning in a third. He had 3 strikeouts. He did give up a home run, but he had 3 strikeouts. So that's what he's known for, is getting guys out via the strikeouts. Love 7 years, $210 million. So I hope that guy just ramps it right up and does his job, because that's a lot of dough to put out to a guy. So I think he's going to be okay. Ponce, I think he's definitely going to be reliever. Yeah. The Jays also just signed Scherzer too, right?
Yeah.
I'm worried about that a little bit, and not because I don't think he can perform. I'm worried that they're not going to let him perform because of the way his contract was laid out. Now, he probably doesn't need the money, and I think he just wants to be a part of a team that has a chance at a championship.
Well, and he's there to help teach some of the young guys too, right? So.
Absolutely. But the way they laid out his contract about innings pitched, and like he gets like an extra $1 million for like 20 extra innings kind of thing. And it's, like I said, he doesn't need the money, but I'm worried that they're going to manage that and not just let the guy pitch if he's pitching.
Well, it's good injury relief, obviously, to have as many pitchers as they have that could start.
Yeah.
Eric Lauer obviously filled in last year doing that. He hasn't been having that great spring training from what I'm understanding, but again, can't read too much into it. Still might be as good as he was last year. So I think it's good that they have the depth that they have. You just mentioned about Ponce. The same idea was meant with Yariel Rodriguez when he was signed. He was signed as a starter, but he ended up being a bullpen. So I'm not going to be surprised that Ponce will probably go that way.
Yeah, too. And that submariner we talked about or alluded to a couple of weeks ago, Tyler Rogers, so funny. He had a 1.98 ERA across 81 games last year, and he has pitched, what was it? He's pitched 4 innings and already given up 3 runs this spring. Of course, just come to the Jays, right? We'll break you, no problem.
Introducing your new pitcher, Joe Cooper.
Yeah. So I mean, Okamoto, I think, has only had 10 plate appearances so far. So there's going to be a lot of room there for him to show what he's got. Once he comes back from the WBC and starts playing consistently, because he's got to be their everyday third baseman for sure. I think that's the way he's slotted. So
it's you had to wonder if he's going to be able to replace the production of Bichette. Obviously, you can't look at them as the same players. They play different positions. They're different types of players, but that's a big blow to lose Bichette. I'm hoping that the Okamoto that was over in Japan is going to be even more that here playing for the Blue Jays.
And after that long playoff run, guys like Varsho have gotten healthy again. It sounds like the roster is healthy completely, which is great. Funny note, I watched the highlights last night, a little bit of the WBC. Did you guys see what happened with Canada and now I forget? There was a brawl, like full out baseball brawl at the.
Which is usually when somebody gets hit by a ball or something, right? storm the.
Yeah, the reason it happened is in the WBC, which if anybody's wondering what that acronym is for, it's the World Baseball Classic. Run differential helps where you seat. Canada was up like 9-3, and it was against Mexico. Canada was up 9-3 in the 9th inning, and the infielders were playing way back for Mexico. Canada was at the plate, and they bunted for a single. In the majors, if that happens, you're getting plunked immediately. Yep. You might not even make it to first base. Like you don't do that in a 9-3 game, right? It's different in this because run differential matters. You get reseeded, and that's where you're going to be in the standings, and so run differential counts. Well, guy bunted for a single. The next player up, they throw at. They missed. Second pitch, they throw inside. They miss again. And the player looks at the pitcher, kind of smirks, and is like, what are you doing? Like, don't hit me, right? And then the third pitch gets him right in the back. And, of course, I'm sorry, before the third pitch, the umpire gave both sides a warning.
Right.
Yeah. And then he plunked him, so obviously he's getting ejected right away. And I don't know who the batter was. Doesn't really matter. But he just kind of smirked at him, smiled, and just started yelling profanities like, what are you doing? Like, you're being a little B word, kind of thing. Like, you just throw at me. Like, why don't you just, I don't know. He wasn't happy about it. And then it wasn't even those two guys that started the brawl, which was the funniest thing. Because the bench is clear, and then like some guy that came in after the fact and threw a haymaker, and it just went nuts. Watch the highlights later. It was pretty crazy. But my initial point before that was that I thought it was funny that I saw possibly the two slowest people on the planet when it comes to Major League Sports score one after the other, and it was Kirk and then Rowdy Tellez came and scored right behind him. Just watching those guys run, you're like, oh my God, guys. Skip leg day, holy smokes, for like 10 years. Yeah. Oh, what is happening here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyway, that was all I had. I would recommend checking out the highlights later. It was a pretty wild brawl, actually. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. You don't see that kind of stuff at those international tournaments. No. Yeah.
Other Blue Jays transactions, longtime Blue Jay Ben Cowles.
Ben who?
Ben Cowles.
I don't even know who that is.
He was picked up on waivers, I think, like last week, and then put on waivers again. So after going 0 for 9 with 5 strikeouts.
Oh boy,
he was being sarcastic when he said long
gotcha.
time.
So he got back on waivers, and the Cubs picked him back up. So I just thought that was funny to see.
I know that they've been signing a couple of minor league and then invite deals because of all the players that are at the World Baseball Classic. So they got to have a roster, right? And I mean, even some of their prospects, oh my God. Some of their prospects, there's like another separate tournament that's for like Major League Baseball prospects. That's where Trey Savage is going right now. There's actually a whole, I don't know if I've got it here.
While you're looking at that up, I'm just going to let the audience know the reason why you keep reacting to the TV over here is they're watching the Leafs game right now, in case you're wondering.
It was 2-2 3 minutes ago. It's now 5-2 New York.
Gentlemen, I'm going to take a quick break. I have to use the washroom. So please continue talking. I will be right back.
We gotcha. I'm trying to find where that was now, but yeah, there's another tournament, and so Savage is ranked as number 12 on the MLB prospect list right now. Nice. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I would have expected, considering the playoff run that the Blue Jays had in his dominance, I would have expected him to actually be higher than that on the ranking.
I was thinking that too, actually. And Connor Griffin, a prospect for the Pittsburgh Pirates, is number 1, and he's a shortstop outfielder. 6'3", 222, so he's a pretty good size.
Yeah.
I wanted to know where like the next person landed for the Jays on that list, and it looks like it is JoJo Parker at 45. So I was wrong about Nimala. I thought he was higher up on the rankings, and he's not. But JoJo Parker, who is a shortstop, also that was one you were referring to him.
Yeah, you mentioned to him last time.
Yeah. I love how they have like prospected years that they think that they might enter the league.
Yeah, I like that too.
JoJo Parker's like maybe 2029, so we're still 3 years away. It's funny how baseball works that way, eh? Like we're used to hockey where if you don't come into the league by 18 or 19, you're probably not that great of a prospect, and you're just kind of grinding it out in the minors and waiting for your shot and then proving yourself. baseball players, sometimes they're 23, 24 before they even get a solid shot.
Look at Josh Donaldson. He was in his late 20s and he was MVP of the league, right?
Yeah.
Like it took a while for him to kind of make his name. And glad they made that deal. It's too bad they couldn't make the World Series because Kansas City was too good that year. But it's sometimes it happens late.
Yeah.
That's normal.
Yeah, and then Arjun Nimala is their next best prospect, and he is 77 on the list. So, it is true, though. It looks like he did bulk up. That he's listed at 190, and I think he was like 170 pounds last year. So, he's been on 15, 20 pounds for sure. That's good.
Throw the ball harder.
Is that what it does when you put on that kind of weight?
Well, usually it's muscle they put on, right? So they're developing their leg muscle, for speed and agility and their arm strength, of course, upper body for sure, especially on a shortstop, and you need it for hitting.
Yeah, because I know like certain muscles benefit certain sports too, right? Like obviously, a lot of hockey players have gigantic legs because that's the whole point of it. You want to have strong legs for core balance and also for skating speed and things like that. But also you want to have some upper body strength for being able to shoot the puck hard and things like that too, and throw good body checks.
Yeah, I would say very similar in baseball. Probably a little more emphasis on the upper body.
Yeah. Football very similar too.
Yeah, for sure.
Football has a lot of overweight people playing it, especially people who are like line
because they're hard to move.
Well, linebacker or whatever, defensive end, offensive line and stuff like that too. So it's definitely an interesting thing when you consider the fact that you can have overweight people playing a sport, right? I mean.
You think of David Wells when he was pitching for the Yankees and the Blue Jays.
Yeah,
that man was not small.
Famously, that night before he pitched the no-hitter, he was out drinking till like 4 a.m.
Yeah, that's
the night before.
That's surprising.
There's an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they try to do the Wade Boggs. Are you familiar with that?
I haven't seen that.
The joke in the show is that Wade Boggs had drinking like, I don't know, 70 some odd beers and then went and hit like 3 home runs or something ridiculous. It's just like he had the best game of his career and he was like he wasn't fazed by the amount of alcohol he drank, which is like, okay, that's obviously like an old fairy tale.
It's a different time.
It's so funny. It's a
time.
really, really funny episode. I don't know if you ever watched that show, but it's a really funny show.
A few episodes, not too much.
I love it.
Yeah. You got an update on the Raptors at all?
I can go a little bit over the Raptors here.
How much time we got left there, Joe?
Oh, we're about halfway. We're still got less time.
Raptors are still doing relatively good. They are 35 and 26. So fifth in the East right now. So they
struggled out of the gate though, didn't they? Didn't they have
No, the opposite, I think.
Was it?
I think they did well out of the gate.
Why? I feel like I remember having negative conversations about them this year.
I think they were fine for the first few games.
Yeah.
And then they struggled where they lost like 10 in a row.
Maybe that's
and then they went on a run again.
Yeah.
Part of their problem so far this year is they are really struggling against like the top tier teams in the league.
Okay.
They've lost 14 out of 15 against those like top 4 opponents.
How to figure that out.
So it's one of those things where, it's great that you can kick the butts of the ones that are not doing so well, but playoffs is the best teams. So, all of us fans want them to have a long playoff run. If they're not going to be able to hold up, then
how much of what they're going through though is still part of their sort of rebuild phase, right?
Development, right? Like they still have a young roster. Guys like Grady Dick have not had a great year. He's not shooting well behind the arc, which is what they need from him.
Too busy filming Gillette commercials.
Exactly. Yeah. Shave with a nice touch there.
You shave for practice? Anyway.
But the guy that he signed, Sasha Mamushka-Vili, I don't even know how you pronounce his name. Kashvili.
Good try.
He's been able to be good from behind the arc. So, but it's.
I wish, by the way, I hate to cut you off, but I wish I could go back on every single episode and just have a video of every time you've tried to pronounce somebody's name.
Yeah.
Like it would be an hour and a half of you just trying to pronounce names, but it'd be so funny. Yesevich. Anyway, continue.
Continue. Yeah. So like I said, that's been, I guess, one of the big concerns is their outside shooting, Grady Dick, the struggles against the top tier teams.
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes has definitely had a lot of development and a lot of good development. They're talking about him being on the Olympic roster, actually. Yeah. So that's really, really good to hear. He's almost a leader in every category for the Raptors too. Nice. Ingram's got the lead on the points, but he's pretty much, Barnes has got rebounds at 8.1. He's got steals at 1.4. He's got blocks at 1.6.
What's his shooting percentage like? Does it give you that stat there?
Barnes.
I mean, honestly, this is the kind of thing. This is the reason you draft a player like him.
Yeah, he's got to be shooting 40+%. Really, yeah.
When you can sort of see, when you can scout the fact that he's as good a player as he is in university or whatever, you come out of it and he becomes this all around player that you need to be able to build a championship roster, right? So it's nice.
So far this year, Barnes has got some pretty impressive stats. He's 50% on his shots, which is good. That's a lot of players are usually under 40. So so 50% is good. His 3 points, it's 30%. It's not that great.
I find the entire team struggles with 3-pointers. When I watch Raptors games, I'm like, come on.
And it's funny, they were a 3-point team at one time in the past, but they're definitely not that.
Yeah.
Free throws, he's 82, which is, I think, league average is closer to like 85, so he's a little bit lower on the free throws. But again, he's leading the team in most of the big stats that are on the team. So.
He probably, I don't know if it's true or not, but I'd be willing to bet he's probably leading the team in free throw attempts too. Oh, so, probably. The more attempts you get, your chances are your percentage is probably going to be lower, but yeah.
Usually when you're thinking of like rebound leaders, you're thinking about the big guys, right? Like, Karl Anthony Towns, like guys that are centers or power forwards, and Barnes is a small forward and he's doing that, right? So I would have expected like Jakob Poeltl to have been leading that. Even Colin Murray-Boyles, considering the amount of time that he had, but it's cool to see that Barnes is being quite the elite player for them, and so far is going to lead them to the playoffs. I'm not going to jinx them. I have full confidence that they're going to make the playoffs. I just hope they can make it past the first round, depending on who they're playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you consider it, like, again, just going back to my statement about. These are the kind of things you kind of get with a rebuilding team. I mean, I know that they're on the upward swing of things, but obviously this is all learning for them. And you've got a young roster who they need to learn how to face adversity. You're gonna have trouble against top teams because they have the veterans who can handle it and things like that. Kind of like hockey in that way, right? But with basketball, it's funny. It's what I would consider an individual team sport. Like. It's sort of an oxymoron, but really what I mean by that is that it's a team sport that has a bunch of individuals who do their jobs, right? Hockey is very similar, except it feels like there's a role you play in basketball that it almost takes the whole game over,
Yeah.
And stats are really, really important when it comes to individual plays and things.
Yep.
Like it's what I consider an individual team sport, but ultimately I think the teams that win are the teams that can utilize everybody else.
I remember when they drafted Scotty Barnes, there was a lot of negativity actually about that, because Jalen Suggs, who eventually got drafted by the Orlando Magic, was consensus to be that fourth pick. Like, he was considered elite, to be the best player, and at that spot, and they took Scotty Barnes, who I think was 8 or 9 in terms of projections
based on rating. Yeah,
and give Masai a lot of credit for that. He trusted his gut, and Barnes was Rookie of the Year, and if we're looking at their career stats right now, Jalen Suggs is only 12.5 points a game, and if we're looking at Scotty Barnes, second here as I scroll down, he's 19 points a game and won Rookie of the Year that year.
Not bad at all.
So it's too bad that Masai is not a part of the group anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's to do with ownership or stuff like that. I can't speak for it, but Masai's still making impact in
he's in like
basketball.
Is he in like Jersey or something?
No, he's actually he's working on the UN Sustainable Development for basketball around the world.
He doesn't work for a team.
No.
I don't know. I thought he did. I thought he went to a different team.
So yeah, he's involved in the UN side of that to try and kind of keep spreading that, and but he's done good. Even with the whole draft last year, with there was a lot of talk about him picking Maluwatch.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's first name. Cayman, I believe. Maliwatch, because big guy. That's exactly what the Raptors need. Somebody that'll be an interior defender, can score, and they took Colin Moore-Boyles.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of people who are like, why did you pick that guy? And Boyles is starting to prove a bit his worth, and the fact that he's a really good interior defender. He's very smart. He uses his brains a lot, and he's had a relatively
cerebral. That's the term they use in sports. He's cerebral.
He's had a relatively good season. Like, he is 7th on the team in terms of points per game.
Nice.
And that's for a rookie. That's not. He's gotten a bit of playing time because Jakob Poeltl is out, but now that Jakob Poeltl's back, he's getting a little bit less. He's still making an impact on the team, cool. So that's really cool to see.
Awesome. Yeah.
Anything that you guys want to know about the Raptors?
I'm pretty content.
That's a lot of information, right? And like, how far? Like, I know that the basketball regular season is a little bit further back than the NHL one. For example, the playoffs start in basketball after the playoffs start in NHL, right?
Yeah.
Where are we seeing the Raptors in terms of playoff contention this year? Like you said, you hope that they can get out of the first round. So does that mean they're guaranteed to make the first round this year?
Absolutely, because again, it's 10 teams that made the playoffs. Now the bottom two, the 9 and 10, I believe 7 and 8 actually as well. There's wildcard games between those guys. Raptors sit 5th, so they're not likely going to have to play that wildcard game. There is still technically 21 games left in the season, so you never know. Something could flip around, and
it's not that far behind the NHL.
Really. You know this is crazy. I don't get this. The Detroit Pistons have played. Oh, hold on. No, that's not right. I was reading that wrong. Never mind. I was going to say, it looked like for a second that the Pistons had played 45 games and the Raptors had only played 35, but that was how many wins they have.
That's right.
And by the way, that's 5th in the East, not the league. Yeah, 5th in the East.
Yeah, they're gonna separate it by
conference.
Yeah, like there's about 7 games that separate. The Raptors from the Magic, who are in 7th right now.
Mm-hmm.
Any of that could change. Obviously, with 21 games left, I don't expect the Raptors to fail by any means. I don't think they're going to, but we'll have to just kind of wait and see, right?
Nice. All right. Well, stick around to the Puckn Pod for more Raptors information from your man Paul. We are going to move on, though, gentlemen, to my favorite game ever, and that, of course, is This or That. It's a fun game that we like to play here, where I basically read off an option for the two gentlemen here to decide from, one or the other. And I'd like you to back up your answer based on what you decide on, okay? So this week, of course, tomorrow, being the NHL trade deadline, I want to ask you questions based on NHL trade deadline decisions, as well as NHL draft strategies, all right? So these are questions based on these two things. So we'll start with trade deadline decisions. And the first question is trading 3 second-round picks for a top defenseman, or keeping all the picks for the draft. And I think we should base this upon, let's put ourselves in the shoes of a team currently playing for a playoff spot. Because if we decide for our teams, we're just going to say keep all the picks for the draft. Well, let's hypothetically say we're like the Tampa Bay Lightning or something.
I was going to say tough one, because it would still depend on the team,
I guess,
and where they are in the standings. Yeah. If they're in the first wild card spot, I would probably still say I would keep the 3 seconds.
And I would say I don't think 3 second-round picks is going to get you a top defense, like a top 2. We get you probably a top 4. And I would say if you're making a playoff run, and even if you have a decent amount of prospect in your prospect pool, I'd say shed them and get that player that can make a difference.
So based on that statement, it's really funny you say that, because of course we just saw this trade go down yesterday, where your team, the Calgary Flames, traded Uyghur and got 3 second-round picks back for it, for him, which is like an incredible trade when you think about it. I mean, I've never seen a trade where 3 picks in the same round come back. In the same round, in the same draft, come back for one player.
Yeah, that's rare. For
pretty
sure.
Incredible.
Yep.
Pretty incredible.
Shows you the draft capital of the team, right?
Calgary went from being like one of the teams who had the potential of drafting 1 or 2 players who could be beneficial for the team to now having more picks than anybody in the first 2 rounds.
That's true.
So pretty crazy stuff. Okay. Second question, go all in for the cup this year or build potentially through the draft or build patiently through the draft. Patiently, we're going to use this term to mean 3 years. So let's say hypothetically the Toronto Maple Leafs, well, I know I'm just using that as an example. Let's say hypothetically the Toronto Maple Leafs are actually closer to the playoffs than they are further away. And you have the potential to make the playoffs. And would you, being in the position of Brad Treliving, make the decision to buy this year and go further in the playoffs, because you still have those players like Matthews and I don't know, Nylander and stuff like that? Would you go all in for the cup this year or build patiently through the draft and say, let's say, okay, you know what, we're going to wait 3 to 5 years?
I think in part fan expectation plays a part in that, right? So
okay, but take that out the window. You are Brad Treliving right now.
Yeah, okay.
And I guarantee you he does not give a crap about fan expectations.
I think Rogers does, considering they buy the tickets.
But I guarantee you Brad Treliving himself does not.
Yeah.
They do not take fan consideration into anything.
If Toronto was in a playoff position, let's say right now.
Let's say they're right at the wild card.
Right at the wild card. Based upon what they have for draft capital right now, I think, again, you can't... They've kind of tried to go all in the last couple of years with like Ryan O'Reilly, Scott Lawton, Brandon Carlo. They've got other players too on top of that.
For sure. Yeah.
And has spent the draft capital with no success, unfortunately. Yeah. Where they've only made the second round twice in the last 9-10 years. So I'd say at this point, no. If I'm Leafs GM, you maybe try to use some of your lower picks or lower prospects to get some complementary players, but based upon just where the Leafs are in terms of their draft capital, where their prospect pool is too, don't do a whole lot.
My answer would come with the perspective of the NHL standings right now, especially in the East, in the Atlantic and the Metro.
That's why I'm speaking hypothetically.
Hypothetically, because if I were doing that, I'd be the same. I would say no. Let's build through the draft, because you going all out to try to make a wild card spot in a year where there are a lot of teams that are very good. The chances of you progressing are probably low anyway. So I would say let's stock the cupboards and let's take the hypothetical out of it, and I hope they do that anyway.
So it brings up a point that I find that most fans don't think about when they call for things like, right? I'm seeing all over the place. Of course, I have been seeing for years all over the place the fans calling for a rebuild in Vancouver, and when they finally admit that they're having a rebuild, the fans get frustrated that they don't do it the right way.
Yeah.
It's like you're never...
What is the right way?
I think, honestly, that's really the question, right? It's like everybody thinks they know how it's done. And then when the team doesn't do what you think is the right way, all of a sudden they're wrong. So I'm seeing a lot of backlash towards, Vancouver management to the fact that they're not trading the players that need to be traded and blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, well, you signed Elias Pettersson for $11.6 million for 8 years. And now you're mad at the team, or now the fans are mad at the team for not trading that contract away 2 years later. Okay, well, there's a couple of things you need to take into consideration. The team on the other side needs to agree to take that contract on. And, I'm sure there's a willing team to take on Pettersson, but not at $11.6 million.
Not the way he's
you
producing.
can retain maybe $2.5 million, maybe you got to take her. But here's the problem Vancouver faces today, right now. They only have one spot left to retain. So
OEL's I guess OEL doesn't really matter.
No.
He's bought out.
The retaining contracts, we're retaining on Tyler Myers. And I believe we're retaining on Sherwood.
Probably.
Something like that. There's two. We're definitely not retaining on Quinn Hughes. I know that for a fact. But I'm pretty sure it's Sherwood is the other one that we're retaining on. So, you've got one slot to retain. What happens when somebody says, "Hey, I'll give you a first round pick for Connor Garland, but I need you to give me $1.5 million off his contract"? Well, guess what? You can't do that because you just traded away. The problem is that people expect things out of the team, and then when they don't do what you think they should be doing, all of a sudden they're doing it wrong.
All these opinions come from people that are not ever on the other side of a GM to GM phone call.
Exactly. And I mean, we're part of a chat group where that we are all armchair GMs, and I put myself in that position too. But I think I know what the team needs to do, and when they go a different route, it's like, okay, well, maybe they see it differently, or they have a different path to get to where I think they need to go to. So it's funny how people perceive things.
Yeah,
I think the other thing that people need to understand too is a contract like Pettersson's or like anybody who has terms still in their contract. Those are the kind of deals that get done in the summertime, not at the trade deadline.
Yep.
People are looking for rentals in the trade deadline.
Yep.
So, Connor Garland, for example, is not a rental player. So there's been a lot of speculation, and I mean, I know we're not going to get into it, but there's been a lot of speculation, and there's a talk of potentially having him move, or Besser move for that matter too. But those are contracts you typically move in the summertime because they're easier to do. And right now, specifically this year, is the first year they have a cap for the playoffs. So it makes it really hard to move people with term because of that reason. So, yeah, I just think I just think that the fans need to have more of an open mind as to how it's done, because we all think, you need to do this now. Like, we need to just tear it down. And it's like, okay, well, you tear it down, and now you have nothing but like young players or AHL players on your team with absolutely zero veterans teaching them how to be professionals and how to build a culture. Because the whole reason for a rebuild is to rebuild the culture, right? It's just interesting. I think I find that really fascinating when people kind of get upset over something as silly as a rebuild.
Trade deadline is going to be pretty intense this year.
I agree.
There's going to be lots of moving pieces.
Okay, a couple more questions for you. Deadline rental for a playoff push, or player with term left on the contract. So much like what I was just saying, you have the option. And again, it's always going to depend on what team we're talking about. So let's put ourselves in, say, Ottawa Senators' shoes for a second.
Okay. For the Senators, where are they in the standings, actually?
I'm pretty sure they're in the playoffs as we speak.
They are, yeah.
Sure.
I would say for them, it's go for it now. Yeah, they've got a good enough core and a good enough team there. They probably should try to figure out a way to upgrade their goaltending.
Yeah.
But I would say,
Allmark's pretty good, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's had flashes, but he's also
depth too, though, right?
He's also got some problems between the ears, right? But I would say that team in particular, I would go for it if I was the Ottawa Senators. They've been sort of waiting patiently and building slowly for about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty much the next 1 to 3 years are win now.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
When you got guys like Brady Tkachuk, you have to, you kind of have to appease a little bit. Again, if you look at Matthew Tkachuk with the Flames weren't really successful with him. So in the end, he wanted out after Gaudreau left, and he saw that the team was changing. So you got to think the same thing. If the Sens aren't going to be a successful team, then you have to appease him. So I'd say buy now as well.
Yeah.
Like management, right? Like guy like Dylan Cousins last year, they traded Josh Norris and I think it was another prospect to get Dylan Cousins. He had term. That made sense for them, but they made the playoffs last year, didn't make it out of the first round. They're possibly going to make the first round again this year. Make a push.
Yeah, and I think you could argue theoretically, and I know you used that last year as an example, but you could argue that taking a player on who has term in his contract is not the worst idea, even for a playoff push.
Yeah.
There's potential of you being able to trade that contract if it doesn't work out in the offseason, things like that. But it really depends on the player, I think, in that scenario. We're actually quickly running out of time. We've only got about 8 minutes left in the pod. So do you guys want to keep going with this or that, or do you want to move on to our next topic now?
I'd say move on to our next topic. Okay. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah,
we'll just have to quickly get through it, I think.
We'll get back to this or that on another future episode, I think.
That works.
Okay, so we are now going to talk about movies, like we always love to do. We're going to quickly go through, because we only have 7.5 minutes or something like that. We only have a few minutes to go through, but we're going to go through our top 3 2000s, meaning 2000 to 2009 movies.
Maybe go through all 3 at once. That way we're not kind of just...
Good call.
going around in circles on it. So
sure.
You go ahead and start, buddy.
You want me to go? Okay. My number 3 is The Pursuit of Happiness.
Nice. Good one.
I'm never going to dislike Will Smith. I don't care what Hollywood says about him. I think he's awesome. Maybe he's a jerk. Who knows? Chris Rock thinks so, of course. But
you would too if you were Chris Rock.
Yeah, that's right. This movie's based on real life events, which I found was just fascinating. You know, I still cry every time I watch this movie. It's just, you watch the guy's journey through the whole process. It's just incredible. It's a fantastic movie. Very heartwarming. He's in the film with his son. And I mean, Will Smith, that is.
Jaden Smith.
Smith. Yeah. When he was quite young, when he didn't know karate. And, I just thought it was a good flick and I would recommend it highly.
All right.
Oh yeah. Right. Number 2, National Treasure.
Yeah,
the first one.
Good call.
It was hard not to pick both, actually, because I like both films.
I did too.
But
they're supposed to be making another one.
Yep, that sounds like it's pre-production.
Yeah.
So National Treasure, I like mysteries and figuring stuff out and that kind of thing. I thought it was really well done. Had to be well thought out for that reason, and just the history combined. I don't know. Really cool. Nick Cage, it's hard to go wrong with him. I mean, unless you watch movies he does now. But
even then, man.
20 years ago, Nick Cage, hard to go wrong. National Treasure is number 2. Number 1, another kind of mystery figure stuff out kind of movie, but this is based on a novel, and that is The Da Vinci Code.
Oh, yeah. I loved The Da Vinci Code.
I liked the first 2. I wasn't so much of a fan of Inferno, but the first 2 were great for me.
What was the second one called?
Angels and Demons.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep. Tom Hanks and another Joe's favorite actor pick for me. The Da Vinci Code, just fantastic.
I think he might be your favorite actor too.
Maybe. Might be. Yeah, just great. The mystery about it and, the history surrounding what's going on. And Dan Brown would have had to have done years and years and years worth of research for this book series, and then adapted into film. Thought it was great. That's all I got.
Before you get into yours, can I quickly just tell you guys, I did a quick search on Google because I didn't have any time at all to research this, so I'm kind of going off the fly. This is just me though. I know you guys did. I searched 2000 to 2009 best movies in Google, and it gave me the top picks first. My least favorite movie of all time is listed in the top picks category.
Great.
The movie The Happening.
Yeah, it's such a bad movie.
Wow.
Such a bad movie.
That's pretty rough, actually.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
It like, I already knew that M. Night Shyamalan had trouble keeping me into any of his movies. That movie literally just ended it for me.
So bad.
I was like, I'm never watching one of his movies again.
Yeah.
The grass is attacking you.
It was the trees, but yeah, close enough.
So my top 3, obviously big sci-fi nerd, and we watched all of the old ones when I was a kid. The remake of Star Trek that came out in 2009. Watched that so many times, and it was casted so perfectly by J.J. Abrams. He's done so many good films, and obviously did the show Lost and did really good with that too. Mm-hmm. So I loved the new Star Trek, and Eric Bana as the antagonist. And that was very menacing, and he's got a lot of very memorable lines in that movie.
For sure.
Second one for me, it's a trilogy. I will pinpoint one of them, but the Lord of the Rings trilogy was all 2000s that it came out. Mm-hmm. I will pick specifically Return of the King, obviously as out of that. Yeah. And it, again, longest movie. I think that was like 3.5 hours, that movie, but it was so masterfully put together by Peter Jackson. Again, good casting as well. The story was so good. It won Best Picture that year for the Academy Awards. So, and the Lord of the Rings are movies I can watch constantly. And I've watched the extended versions all in a go with friends.
9.5 hours.
No, you try 13.5 hours.
Oh my God.
It's a long thing.
Yeah.
And then, funny enough, outside of fantasy and sci-fi, for me, my top pick is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, you picked mine.
I've never seen that movie.
That is with Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey movie.
And Kate Winslet. It is a drama comedy.
It's considered a drama, but for sure. Yeah.
And it's cool to watch it because it's the idea of having your memories erased and you're watching the memories get erased. And it has a lot to do with grief and breakup and stuff like that, and how a relationship can kind of go in the opposite direction. And then, as you know, when Jim Carrey's memories are getting erased in the film, he's starting to regret getting these memories because he had all these good memories of his girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
And you're seeing the breakdown of what that's going through. And it was a cool movie in the fact that even in the ending, I won't give too much away, that fate still has a way of working through.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so you took mine. I was going to take that one, but that's okay. I've got at least 2 others.
I start going. You can't go last all the time, Joe.
Yeah, I know. Really, that's the thing, right? So the first movie I'm going to pick is Inglourious Bastards.
That's a good one.
Obviously, huge Tarantino fan, but that movie, I've every once in a while, I'm like, I feel like watching Inglourious Bastards, and it's not just the fact that it's a Tarantino movie, but just the actors he chooses for his movies. They're just so good. They're just so good. The guy who plays Hans Lander, Christoph Waltz. Waltz.
Thank you.
He's just so. That's the first time I ever saw him in anything, and I was like, this guy's perfect for this role. Absolutely perfect for that role. Yeah, and then Brad Pitt and all the supporting cast in that movie. It's just so good. Just so good. Second is actually is considered a horror movie.
Ooh.
28 Days Later.
A good movie.
I'll never forget seeing that movie in the theater. And I remember it being such poor quality. And it's because of the type of camera they used. But the reason why I liked it so much. Oh, that's your phone. The reason why I liked it so much is because of the fact that it was poor quality, it made it feel almost more real. Like, they shut down London to make this movie. It was so incredible.
Yeah.
So that was just, for me, that was it. Can you tell me, because I haven't been able to search it, now that because you chose Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, is Punch Drunk Love in the 2000s? I think it is.
It is, yes.
So I'm going to go with that one as my next one.
Adam Sandler?
Adam Sandler.
Emily Watson.
Absolutely wonderful movie. And it's the first time I ever actually looked at Adam Sandler and went, this guy can act. Like, he can act. Because it was a drama. It's a drama. But it's like, and it actually hits you in the feels, like it's one of those movies where you just, whoa, like not only can he act, but like the story is so compelling. And so those are my big 3 for sure.
Nice.
Of the
Any
2000s.
honorable mentions?
Oh man, I got like 10, but I'll go. I'll pick one. I'll pick 2. I'll pick Iron Man.
Yeah,
because it was the start of the kind of the Marvel takeover.
Nice.
So that's my pick on that one, and I'll also go with The Prestige.
That's a good one.
I really like
call.
The Prestige.
Recommendations for me will be Taken with Liam Neeson.
That was on my list too.
Equilibrium with
Johnny Depp.
No, why can't I think of his name? Dark Knight.
Heath Ledger.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Thank you.
Dark. Yeah.
And I'll pick 2 others: Cloverfield and District 9.
Thank you for not choosing the one I was about to choose.
Yeah.
I'm just choosing one: Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr.
RDJ. Cool.
Actually, all of the Sherlock Holmes movies that he did I enjoyed them a lot. So yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good.
We got through it. We did go over time a little bit, but that's okay. That's all right.
We
went over last time too, so that's okay. We actually thought this was going to be a shorter episode. Here we are. Big night tomorrow big day tomorrow for us, I should say. Trade deadline tomorrow. When you guys watch this, we will already know who is the new players on which teams, and who is basically sold out and taking draft picks.
That's right.
Come on, Vancouver. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Make sure you watch out for our YouTube channel for random live streams that we decide to do, because I think we're probably going to end up doing more at some point too. We wanted to do, I think it was Free Agent Frenzy last year, but we never did.
No, I think we also talked about doing the draft.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think it had something to do with scheduling or whatever, but regardless, we'll probably do more to live streams. Anyways, want to thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been another fun episode. Once again, for the Puckn Pod, my name is Joe.
My name is Brandon.
I'm Paul.
We'll see you next time.